They join what they can. Parasha Beshalach, Tafshin Pei Bes. There's a lot of subject we can talk about. However, I like to focus and narrow down just one point and understand it and build from there, so it gives us an outlook on the Parasha. Last week we finished that Paro got sick of the Jews after Makas Bechoros. He can't wait. He comes out in pajama at night, throwing the Bnei Yisrael, don't wait till the morning, just get out of Mitzrayim. We start the Parasha with a totally change of heart. I'm going to go along a little bit with Rashi, and I'm going to show what soidos, what secrets are behind the words of Rashi all along. The pasuk tells us, Paro goes out with 600 chariots, young, and all the chariots of Mitzrayim. Okay. There's a contradiction in this pasuk. In these few words, there's a contradiction. If he goes out with 600, means he didn't go out with all of them. And if he went out with all of them, means he didn't go out only with 600. So which one is true? Or what do they refer to? That's probably the question we're going to have to answer. But we're facing a bigger question here. Paro just been smeared in Mitzrayim. He lost his firstborn. Every Mitzri lost their firstborn. And here they go, all of them together happily go after the Jews again. Guys, don't you understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching over us? Ki Hashem nilcham lahem b'Mitzrayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is fighting for us. You saw that. We were, basically at peace in Eretz Goshen. Nothing was happening to us. And all of you were getting whacked by the markers. Where do you find the azus? Where do you find this stupidity to come after us again? Paro was a tremendous chacham. Paro was the biggest mechashef. We spoke the past few weeks. Moshe Rabbeinu in the front of the head against the dalat of the tefillin. Paro. Moshe is in each one of us. Paro is in each one of us. Chaimi, please turn off your microphone.
Oops.
So, if Paro is in each one of us, we can turn into Paro anytime. And we can use the same tricks he's been using in order to fight the Bnei Yisrael. More than this, if this is what it is, the Torah is teaching us by allegories that what's written in the pasuk, it's what the buildup, the components of the human body. Then you have Bnei Yisrael are in me, Erev Rav are in me. Erev Rav is not someone, that was born from people or descendant of Paro, whatever. Erev Rav is a definition of someone that decided to become something or to run after something. We're not going to have time to dwell in the Erev Rav. I think we're going to have plenty of parashas coming up, and I'll explain this in detail. But here I'm going to explain something today, which is tremendous. How the worlds, the upper worlds and the lower worlds are working, and where they're connected. And when someone, because Parasha Saman happened to be right in the middle of this Parasha, with Paro and everything he does. What's the connection? Is someone's business not going well? It's because the marketing? It's because he didn't put enough effort? It's because what? is there a way to know what's ready up there and how am I getting it down here? Or I should say differently, everything is ready up there. The question is, how am I receiving it down here? So I'm going to go through these explanations. Paro, as we mentioned before, was a chacham. Since he was such a wise man, and he was to the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, because he's in the Das, we asked, yes, a fair question. Dudi, can you turn off your mic, please? So how is it possible that he went back out? Paro is a great student. He learned how things are working, how the shemes we mentioned last week that came through every makkah, they're working, how the upper worlds are working, and now he comes up with a plan. There is a Merkava of Kedusha. That's the one, that's the army, that's the Valkos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What is he supposed to do to counter them and to beat them? That was Paro's plan. Today now we're starting our shir. If you take just the Merkava Shleima, which is the Merkava of the Kedusha, Merkava Shleima equals 642. Who is it composed by? 4 people. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and David. The 4 legs, right? The 4 together, 642. That's the Merkava Shleima. The Merkava Tmeya that Paro is using because he was a Mechashef in using the name of Tuma, and we're going to see how they affected every step as we're going to see through the Psukim in a few moments, which is the only Avodah Zarah that remains standing after Makas Bechoros. Baal Tzefoin. We're going to see why HaKadosh Baruch Hu left it standing. Merkava Temeya equals Baal Tzefoin. Paro sees, whoa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was not able to say that, but to smear Baal Tzefoin is still standing. Mean there is power. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu entice Paro? What did he play him out? We'll see a little bit. Paro goes with 600 young chariots. Doesn't say if it's warriors, just young chariots. Let's take it for what it is. 600, we know it's a tremendous number. MS, we know it's 441. Sheker is 600. Paro is using already the evil forces in order to force his way. What is Bachor? Bachor is 216, like Gvura. So he wants to use the power. Really, this is where you see, that's what he says, Sheshmos Rechev Bachur. Bachur means Gvura, with power. So he's going to empower them with magics and with the name of Tuma. I know at the beginning I'm throwing a lot of information, but you will see how at the end of this year, it will fit like a foot in a shoe. Perfectly, you will remember, you will understand. It's all going to fall in place. I just have to give you this Hakdama a little bit for us to understand, because we're going to go through a forest. If I take Rechev Bachur, just to check his intention, so he has the Avois Hakdoshim Merkava Shleima, Merkava Tuma. He has a plan how to basically counter the power of the others. Now he figures, you know what? These guys I have Imars also. Yeah, they were tzadekes. Kadosh Baruch Hu listened to Rachel Imeinu, Kol Barama Nishma. So he does, that's what it's called, the Rechev Bachur, which equals exactly 438, Leah, Rachel, Bilhah, Zilpah. the mothers of the 12 Shvatim, those are the descendants that are here today. He's going to counter their power also. Wow, it's a lot of information for a few words in the pasuk. And we haven't started with V'chol Rechev Mitzrayim. We'll understand that a little bit later. But here, this is what we have, the good versus the evil. And now, we're going to jump a few psukim and understand the plan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu versus Pharaoh, who thinks he's smart. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell them a very, very, very strange commandment. Orders them a very strange commandment. Daber b'nei Yisrael. Tells to Moshe Rabbeinu, tell the b'nei Yisrael, ve'yashuvu, they should return. Rashi explained, what do you mean return? Return backward toward Egypt. Ve'yachanu lifnei pi hachiros. Oh, all of a sudden we are in the middle of a big city, New York City. We're gonna give you a lot of information where we are in the desert. We are between Piachiros, Ben Migdol, Ben Hayam, in case you don't understand which block we're standing in. Lifnei Baal Tzephon. I gave you ways. That's the ways information in the desert. What? We're talking about supposedly a desert here. So I'm repeating the pasuk. Ve'yashuvu, they will return. Ve'yachanu, they will camp. Lifnei Piachiros, before Pi Hachiros. I'm not going to translate it. We will see a little bit later. Ben Migdol uben Hayam. Between Migdol, supposedly like a Migdal, we'll see. Uben Hayam, and the ocean. Lifnei Baal Tzephon. Before Hashem wants us, before Baal Tzephon, we are going before the Merkava Tmeya. We are going before the source of all evil on earth, right in front of it. Well, one second. Usually you want us away from this because the Kedusha gets harmed by this. Now you want us in front. We have the ocean. We have Baal Tzephon. We have Migdol. We taken in three sides. The only direction we can go is toward Mitzrayim. But the Mitzrayim are coming down there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why do you tell us to go into a corner? Because I want you into a corner and you will see. And you will see how every of these words are going to fall in place in the explanation of that pasuk, because that pasuk is trivial to understanding the Kriyas Yamsuf, the nace of Kriyas Yamsuf. Mitzrim think HaKadosh Baruch Hu abandoned them. That was the impression when Bnei Yisrael left Mitzrayim. They left Mitzrayim. The shining star at that point, at that moment, was Ma'adim, Mars, Mercury. Mercury is not Mars. It's Mars. Mardi, Mars. Yeah, it was Mars. Yeah, Ma'adim. In the Torah, it has a different name. Ra'ah, bad. Did I give the share here last week about the letters of Paro when Moshe Rabbeinu took away the pay and the Ra remained? It was here? I don't remember where I gave that share. Anyway, if you see, Paro is a composition. It is a composed name. Pei, Ra'ah. Pei equals 80. 80 is 16 times 5, which are 16 times Elohim, the number of letters. So Moshe Rabbeinu, his age was mentioned when he met Paro because he had a mission to take away some names of Elohim that he was using. So he remained Ra'ah. So when they left, he laughed, Paro. He said, you know what I see in the stars? I see that you're basically gonna have a lot of blood spilled in the desert. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu says. Lama yomru Mitzrayim, by the Egel. Why should Mitzrayim say? Ki bero'o hoitziam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took them out of Egypt at the time of Ra'ah, that Ra'ah was shining. People say, no, with bad intention. That's the pshat. But the real true meaning is bero'o hoitziam. When Mars was shining, that was the muzzle, the upper muzzle at that time. So I'm coming back to my puzzle. We before Lifnei Piachiros, Lifnei Baal Tzefoin. Why HaKadosh Baruch Hu want us there? He has a plan. Moshe David Valley, I told you many times, I'm going to repeat it maybe for the last time. He was a Talmid of Reb Chaim Vital, the Rebbe of the Ramchal. Tremendous pshatim on the Parasha, on the Tanakh. Explains Pi Hachiros. Do you know what it means? Pi Hachiros. It means the P of Cherus. Cherus is in the Bina. When do slaves go free? On the Yovel. Which year is the Yovel? The 50th year. How many days we counted between Pesach and Shavuos? 50 degrees of Kedusha. We arrived to Shavuos in the Bina, Olam HaTshuva, Olam HaTorah, and Olam HaCherus. That's what we call the Bina. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings them this way, means the pasuk reveals that the intention behind this is to give them Cherus. And we're going to see we have a few levels of salvation that we're going to meet through the psukim here. And he gives a hint, Nichoy Sachanu al Hayam, Rashi Tevis is Nit A. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to wrong Paroi, to give him the wrong impression. This whole thing was a scam for Paroi, the Chacham Gadol of Paroi, but still he would fail to understand the signs and he will be drawn into the sea. Because Paro knew one thing I should not do, go after the Bnei Israel in the Yam Suf. Let's see if I have time to explain that point, but that's a very important point according to astrology. And that's why it says in Iyov, Mashgi lagoyim vaye'avdem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wronged the goyim and then smeared them, then finished them. We left Rechev Mitzrayim. Now I'm going to go into Rechev Mitzrayim because now I'm going to go into the heavy part. Rechev Mitzrayim equals 602. Seven times Elohim is the name in the Shechina that is responsible for carrying out the din. That's the purpose of the name Elohim. There's another name which is Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, which is the judge. But Elohim carries out the sentence, carries out the ruling, the verdict. So Rechev Mitzrayim, they wanted, so just with five Elohim, so Elohim is 86, 5 times 86 is 430. That's why at the beginning in Parshas Va'era, it says 5 times Vayeda Elohim, Vayishma Elohim Esna Kosam, 5 times Elohim there, 430 years are finished. Here, we see that Paro says, oh, it's not enough. 5, I'm going to take 7. Piachiros, we just said the Ramdu. Always call him the Ramdu. The Moshe David Valley, get used to it because I use it a lot. The Ramdu said it's Cherus. If you calculate the number of Piachiros equals 719. Exactly the number of Bein HaBesari. The promise he made to Avram will be paid now. Wow, so we're expecting something special. I thought it was by Yetzias Mitzrayim when they came out. No. It was not then. It's going to be now. And the Pasuk is warning us with these interesting languages. It's telling us what's going to happen here. So now we're really going to face some kind of real cherus, which we didn't have, even though we left Mitzrayim. So we left the Shibud, and I'm not going to go into this. Ben Migdol uven Hayam, between Migdol and the ocean. We asked, is that a Waze address? No, this is an address up there. This equals to 262. Kel Melech Neeman. This is one of the first acts of Emunah Bnei Israel have done. They were not stupid. They knew they had to run in the open in the Midbar. They don't want to go back to Mitzrayim to be enslaved. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, we trust him because he's a trustworthy God. And that's the tremendous emunah they're going to put, the first big emunah they're going to put. I won't have time in this year, but there's another shir on Rabbeinu Hananel, how he explains the whole inyan of emunah and how does it work between up and down and how to guarantee something to happen. But we won't have time to go into the inyan of emunah and how the emunah transcended the waters. But it's for another time, Bez Hashem. So this I was why I really wanted to give you the shir on emunah, but this I wrote it in the plane on the way back from New York with my son, and so I had tremendous chidushim at that point, and I felt that we're gonna see if it was the right decision. So nichoy, words again, letters. Sachanu alayam, in front. You will camp on the ocean. Okay. Even if you want to say alayam means next to the ocean, fine. But nicho in front. Lifnei about sefon. Lifnei, I understand. Nicho means across. But lifnei means also I see the face to face. So why this lashon repeated again? All these words are superfluous in the pasuk. Nichoi sachanu alayam. This is the key of everything in Kriyas Yamsuf. It's equal to 703. Sus rechev paroi. These words are going to be continuously repeated during the Kriyas Yamsuf, in the Haggadah, everywhere that we talk about. Nichoi sachanu alayam. I'm not going to explain what's the reason. It amounts to this. A little bit further down the line, it will become obvious what's the reason of it. Sus, the horse, rechev, of the chariot of Paro. This is the key. The Koimana HaKadosh tells us, is bombarding us here with chidushim beyond human understanding. Sus paroi, just the sus paroi, if we didn't take the rechev, equals 481. Paro came, we will see, now we're starting about the sides of the Kedusha, but we will see what Paro did on the other side. So we all know there are four words. Abiyah. Aleph for Atzilus. Base for Beria. Yud for Yetzira. Ayin for Asiya. Abiyah. We live in Asiya. Atzilus is the highest. Just to give you an example, Aleph for Atzilus, because Atzilus, the Torah in the first Luchas, started with an Aleph. The Torah we received started with the base from Beria. So it was not, that's why after 120, the Zohar says there's a malach, that responsibility is to teach us the Torah, the first Luchas. So we don't know who's going to be who. According to whatever good deeds you have done, you will be zoche to learn more Torah. That's what it is. So you may find the book binder that's a Rosh Hashiva in Shemayim. Why? Because it has nothing to do for how many Torahs you learned here or whatever. It's how many schusim, how many chasadim, how good of a person were you. Sus paroi equals 481. This number is the key number till Parshas Devarim. 481 because it's Eretz Canaan. But here I'm not going down that path. So each of the four worlds have, remember the 10 spheres here? It has these 10 spheres, each of the four worlds. So each world has a keser. So in Atzilus, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we don't really know what's going on up there. So we're starting from Beria, and Paro is attacking this, the keser of Beria. That's where he's starting. He's launching his attack. He's so high. Moshe Rabbeinu went to the Bina here in Beria to get the Torah. Paro is capable of attacking the Keser. Really to say the name of the Malach that's in the Keser there, but the Zohar brings down that, I'm going to say it in two words, so like this, I don't say his name. His name is Adiri, run, and equals 481. And he went to aim right at him. I mean, the Malach of the Keser, he's like representing HaKadosh Baruch Hu there in the Olam HaBeria. He rules over the Olam HaBeria. Sus, Rechev, Paroi, these are the two expressions we're going to see, equal 703, which we saw before, but now we go, Hashem, Eloike Yisrael Melech. I need to break the bond between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Bnei Yisrael. The Ari HaKadosh tells us that, unfortunately, with our bad actions, we're creating bad malachim. However, we have two tools a day in order to kill what we have created. Kriya Shema Lamita, which Kriya Shema equals 1,125. So that's exactly the number of evil spirit we are killing by saying Kriya Shema. And Yoshev Beseiser is like someone who has, someone took out a gun and the other guy comes with a tank, but not any tank, the tank, the latest massive tank, and he shoots at him a bullet, which is, a bomb. What it means, Yoshev Beseiser Elyoin, this mizmor is tremendous. Anyone in Tzara, this removes Beseiser equals 662, equals the name of the representative of Hashem in all the world. Sometimes Hashem calls Shemi Bekirbo, my name is in him. Almost they identify. And his name is Achasriel. In fact, not Kasriel, Akasriel equals 662. This is the second target of Paro. First target was the Malach in the Keser. Second target was the name that Hashem identifies with. I don't want to repeat too many times. And the third target was to break the bond between Hashem, who's Melech of Bnei Yisrael, and to basically not let them get the Shefa. How do you do that? There's a word in the Shira that has no explanation. Torishei Moyadi. Is it a lotion of Yerusha? but it doesn't fit the picture there. The Command HaKadosh says, you know what Torah Shemo is? It's basically a game of letters. It means Resh, Yud, Vav, 216, Shemus. Resh, Yud, Vav, Shemus equals the letters, if you reshuffle them, is Torah Shemo. Paro came, so in the Shema Mefoirash, in this Parasha, we call the Pasuk Vayisa, just to tell you, to show you in the word of this Parasha, we have it in Kriya Shema. These are the 72 names. I know you can't see well, but these are the 72 names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We say them, we hint them in Kelodoin when we say on Shabbos. We hint them in Vehoyim Shamoya, the 72 first letters, words, and so forth. It comes out from the Pasuk, Vayisa Malach Eloikim, the next Pasuk, they all have 72 letters. So we put one straight forward, one backward, and one forward. And now we're taking letter one, letter one, letter one, letter two, letter two, letter two. So we have 72 names of 3 letters. This is the Shem HaMefoirash. And it's revealed in this Parasha here. But in the Tumah, you also have the Shem HaMefoirash of Tumah. And this is what Paro took with him. And he said, with that, I can counter it. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to Paro like his horse. I was trying to say that, but this is what Chazal Lesusasi, it says in Shir Hashirim, a clear pasuk, Lesusasi berichvei Paroi dimisich rayasi. The horse of the chariot of Paroi dimisich, I looked alike. Rayasi, my friend, my dear. So don't be scared because they saw a tremendous horse. And Paro saw this is his muzzle. And he felt confident to keep on, but it was not his. It was our muzzle. I told you everything is going to fall in place. And I'm going to make sure this happens. I'm going to give you a very, very fundamental learning in here about Jews, about everything, about life. Here you have letter Aleph. The letter Aleph, we always say, in the Midrash, Oisius the Rabbi Akiva, we say Aleph represents HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Keser, Alufoi Shel Olam. Aleph is composed by 3 letters, Yud, Vav, Yud. Here, Yud, Vav, inverted Yud. And I'm going to explain everything because this is very trivial here. How much equals Yud, Vav, Yud? 26. Yud ke Vav ke. So it's fair to say it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why Aleph represents HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because it's Yud, Vav, Yud. All the fights between the Goyim and the Yidden have been for these 2 letters. Vav, Yud. Starting by Yaakov and Esav, that Rashi says Esav was Asui, and Yaakov was holding his ankle. What Rashi says, he took the letter Yud from them, this Yud. Otherwise, he would have been named Akev. But he took that letter and put it in form of before Akev, he became Yaakov. And Esav, when Mashiach comes, he's going to lose the Vav, and he's going to become Ash. And the Vav is going to go into the name of Yaakov. Yaakov, instead of being Yud Ayin Kuf base, is going to become Yud Ayin Kuf Vav base. 5 times in the Torah, it's written like this with the Vav. It's a game between Yoah Navi that we call 5 times Eliyah. He lent his Vav to Yaakov. I'm not going to go explain this. Now, we standing here in the world, in that inverted U. We don't understand this because we work in full inversion. So what happens here is when this Yud, when you do something, a good deed, automatically it goes up through the Yud to the Vav, because Vav is, Vav HaChibur is the Vav that connects. That's why I did the Vav here, because it connects the Tiferes. You see that thing? It's a Vav. So once you do a good deed and we are here, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up to here, which is also a Yud. Here's my upper, the truth is the Yud is here, my upper Yud. So we see from here that when you do something, automatically it's a lo edin in Maaseh Bereshis. If you do a good deed here, automatically you're getting something back here. I did something good, I did not get back something. Your Vav has a problem. Your connection from here to here has a problem. The conduct is jammed, is broken, something is not working because you're not getting from the Tiferes Yaakov Avinu the Shefa that you had supposed to go through the Yesod, through the Malchus, back to your. However, in a normal thing, we do not work according to the Goim rule. You do not need marketing. You do not need anything. You need to make sure your letters are working together. Once they're working together, there's an isoirus, is arusa dil sata. There's an awakening at the bottom. Automatically, there's awakening, is arusa dil eila. There's an awakening on the top. And this Yud is going to provide, it needs to go through the Vav and come back to the person and bring Shefa to the world. That's the key of a Jew. And whenever he does not receive that, he knows he has to work on the Vav, on the connection on the Vav. That said, this applies to every aspect of a Jewish person. We will see another level deeper in a few seconds that it applies in every situation, money, zivugim, everything. So just before I go down to this level, I just want to bring another commander here. He explained the only reason Paro had a chance at that time is because the Torah was not given. Fasten your seatbelt for the words he's going to say. So, however, after the Torah was given, a person who's mechadesh, who innovates a chidush in Torah, he creates new shamayim, new skies. He creates a new earth, and he becomes a new person. For one chiddush of Torah that he innovated, so, okay, that's very nice. But what's the upside? The upside is, even if he was a bad person, and on Rosh Hashanah, he had bad gzeres that were already sent out on Oshana Rabbah, and the Satan was supposed to carry out, he doesn't find him in the world. The gzer is here, but the person is not here. He goes to Hashem, the Satan, and says, did you take him? I said, no, it's your job, not my job. Didn't take, I can't find him, can't find him. He becomes a Birya Chadasha to the point that he disappears even to the eyes of the Malachim. That's how much, that's how much one chiddush in Torah is important. Before the Torah, we had indeed a weakness. We could not disappear to the eyes of the evil powers. We were there. But today, so the Midrash says that Paro saw, remember, Paro saw when Moshe was born, he saw he's going to be on the water. We can't say Paro doesn't know he was a bad astrologer or astrologist or anything like this. Paro knew was the pinnacle of this chokhmas from all generations. No one raised this, to the level of even Bilam, who used to go to the Malachim in the Hare Kedem, Azar and Azal to learn all the witchcraft, never reached the level of Paro. Just to tell you, Lavan was the biggest mechashev, but in chokhmah, in everything, didn't reach the level of Paro. So now we're talking about this Paro. He sees Mitzrayim choinim alayam, Chmana Litzlan, Israel toivim bayam, and Bnei Israel basically being drowning in the ocean, in the sea, in the Yam Suf. He's very sure now. He brought the Machane Tuma. He said his 216 names. He sees that the result will be that he will win. He will stand on the shore, and Bnei Israel will be chas v'sham in the ocean, drowning. I want to explain you the other point now that we said that. But one thing changed. It says in the pasuk, "Vayasar es oifan markevoisa." HaKadosh Baruch Hu removed the wheel, the axle of the chariot. So oifan, every mefarish asked the question. Oifan is in Lashon singular. Markevoisa is plural. Already one chariot doesn't run on one wheel, he needs two wheels. So when you say one wheel of all these chariots, we don't understand. This is the second part of the Aleph to understand the world. Okay, I'm not a great drawer, but you can see the wheel. Around the wheel, you have 12 mazals. These are the zodiac. The 12 signs of the zodiac. But for the sign of the zodiac to be able to hold there, it's like the axe, it's like the wheel, the outer part of the wheel, you need connection to something, because these guys are all dead without life from the Kedusha. So who is in the center? The Yud, Atika Kadisha. There are 12 mazalas. Bnei Israel, de facto, we are always attached to this one. Unless someone is choite, then he goes back to whatever mazal, and he has to carry, the burden of living under the mazalas like a goyim. But otherwise, so this is what carries the mazal of all the goyim. So when it says by Vayosar es oifan, oifan means also a vav. So you see the pasuk wants to hint us something. So we removed all these connections. So now it's attached to nowhere, the outer wheel. What happened? Boom, it fell. All the mazalas fell down, and automatically they lost power. All the nations lost power. So who is this galgal that fell? Who is this wheel that fell? Because the Atika Kadisha stopped feeding them. It's Oifan. Aleph, Pei, Nun. That's the way it's written in the Torah. There's no Vav. 80, 50, 130, 131. Oh, the Yetzer Hara, his name is Samael. Exactly 131. This is where the Yetzer Hara pulls people, through this. But when Bnei Yisrael are using the Yud here, the Yud that respond is this Mazala Kadisha. We call it the Mazala Kadisha. Noitzer Chesed Lo Alofi. Always providing Chesed. So if you have your Vav connected, the person is in connection, in symbiosis with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with Emunah and Bitochen, this is always providing. You don't live by the rules, marketing, whatever they call human resources, business resources, these are the rules of the world, the Googles, the Facebook, and all the, which was given by Atika Kadisha, all this Atzlacha. Really, everything that's here is supposed to be through the Bnei Yisrael. So what he wants to take Paro, he wants to do this. We're not connected anymore to the Yud, and he will be here taking the Shefa, and Bnei Yisrael will be finished. That's the plan of Paro. This Vav Yud, which brings the bounty in this world through this Yud, he wants to be under. And he wants to receive, because Paro was Melech on whole earth. And he wanted to get the bounty and not the Bnei Yisrael. That's why he wanted this. Now that we understand what it means to be a Jew and what it means, the connection and the different rules we work by, we're going to understand a Zohar that a lot of Mefarshim bring down and not many understand it. Beatika Talia Milsa. The whole Kriyas Yamsuf was depending on the Atika, the central Yud, the central muzzle there. But now we understand someone who's connecting himself to the muzzle of Atika Kadisha has nothing to worry. No Gzera, no evil power. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Samech Zayin Amud Beis, I think it's correct, yes, Samech Zayin Amud Beis. One time there was a, what do you call these women? Witchcrafter? I forgot how they call them. Okay, so sorcerer, she was a sorcerer, and she walked behind Rabbi Hanina to take some dust from under his feet. So he knew right away all the practices, Rabbi Hanina. He says, you one of them? He says, do what you got to do. En oid milevadoi. He said, what is en oid milevadoi? We said last week. The same gematria as ki ani Hashem Elokeichem. When someone is mamlich HaKadosh Baruch Hu on him, it's not just en oid milevadoi, you know, and start singing. Is you feel it with your being. Hashem is my God. Once Hashem is your God, from your inner side, we can hear every part of your body saying, Enoid milevado. We are, why it means is because we are part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so we're not taking space in the world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is filling up the space. So now we see there are 12 mazalas, okay? 12 signs of the zodiac, but there's one controlling them, the Atika Kadisha. The person who's attaching it, is attaching himself to it, can decide what influx he's sending to any mazal. In other words, a Ben Israel which attached to the Atika Kadisha can tell the mazalas what to do for him. Doesn't even have to put an effort. He can tell the mazalas what to do for him. Okay, it's beautiful. How do I do that? So altogether with the Atika Kadisha, which is the mazal of the Bnei Yisrael, the Noitze Chesed Lo Alafim, the 13 mazalas. 13 times mazal, so the Kamana HaKadosh equals 1001. A very simple word. Yiras Shamayim. Last week we developed that, we went in depth between the Ava and the Yira. The Ava is up front when we recognize, when the chiyuv to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because then we're attracted by the light, by the love. And the Yira, we don't want to go backward because we know what we lose. Once we go to that point, to that level, that a person has really Yira Shamayim, meaning I don't want to go backward. Even losing 10 minutes on my schedule of where I am today, it would be a shame. And I enjoy so much, exactly to the point. That's why we not triach the neshames when they go to the next world. Because the hana they have from the Ur Haganus shining upon them, when we really beg them to come, and there's a way to make them come, even a Shailas Chalm and everything, on the way down, they're getting harmed by evil spirits. But what hurts them the most, says the Ari HaKadosh, is the fact that they're not benefiting from the light of the Ur Haganus. Same thing here. People don't realize he shines upon us. And we feel it. A person that gets to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu a bit in depth, he feels it. I'm going to prove my point. We're arriving to toward the end of the shir. Well, if I'm not saying the rest, yes. I know it's going to be a bit longer today, but I think it's so fundamental about the Yid and knowing with confidence, not doubting at any moment that if you do the right thing and you attach to Atika Kadisha, do not worry. Your worries are a lack of bitachon. You're basically destroying what you have created. You're basically blocking the conduct that's supposed to bring you your shefa. You have done it. It's a din from my separations. Says in the pasuk, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea, Vayasem es hayam lecharava, he dried the sea. Vayibakhu hamayim, and the water split it. No. This is back order. This is wrong order. First you split the water, then you dry the soil, right? That would be the right way. So why is the pasuk inverted the order? Because here, charava equals gvura, 216. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he says, the Midrash says, the Zohar HaKadosh says, Vayoshev hayom le'eisonoi. What's le'eisonoi? Litna'oi harishoy. He went back to the T'nai that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made with the Yam when he created it. Why is that? So really, because he didn't want to split. They were Rishaim, as the others were Rishaim. Didn't listen to Moshe. I'm not going to the Midrash. I don't want to go out of subject here, even though it's a pretty interesting story what happened there. But Paro came here to force the ocean with the names of Tumah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to force the ocean to listen to that night. That's why it says, Vayasem hayam lecharava. Not the soil. We jump to the, on the gun right away, we jump the guns and we say, oh no, he dried the land. Not the land. He dried the answers of the Yam. Oh, now I have to listen to him. He's bringing all the evil names on me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to force him, the Sar Hayam, you deal with the evil stuff, but you do what you were supposed to do. Rabnu Bachaye brings a tremendous arichus and a tremendous learning from Rabbeinu Hanan al here, which I cannot go into here. It only says Oifan Markevoisov equals 810. Who are the thorn in our back since ages? The Pelishtim. Where do Pelishtim live? In Eretz Peleshes, as it says in Tehillim. Peleshes. Peleshes equals 810. That's where HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to take them from the beginning. Because this is the maker of all the evil powers in the world. Where it sits in the Palestinian, in the south of Eretz Yisrael, by Gaza. This is where it is This is its Mekoyer. This is why it still exists today. Peleshes. And this where you see Oifan Markevoisa, this is where Paro has drawn his power from. Peleshes. Paro understands that Kadosh Baruch Hu punishes for one of two reasons. Either the person that deserves a salvation is a tzaddik, so the other guy has to be punished, or the person that's being punished is a tremendous rasha. Because of the rishus of that person, is being punished. So the Bnei Israel were not big tzaddikim at that point. As it says in Yecheskel, we say in the Haggadah, ve'at eroim ve'erya. Not only you are naked, but naked of naked. I can't even find the slightest chus. Paro thinks, I gave the Bnei Israel my money. At the end of the day, I might have been forced, but I gave it. I gave them clothes. So I clothed them. Like the Gemara says in Soita, when did I write it down? That you should follow in the path of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Achar Hashem, not Eleichu, it's not this one. Achar Hashem Elokecha Teleichu, yeah, that's this one. And what do you have to do? The Gemara says, is Eish Oichla, he's eating fire, how can I go at HaKadosh Baruch Hu? No, you have to be mizdabek b'midoisav, the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu does it. Paro is thinking, I have to claim 3 chasadim. The chesed, I give them money, tzedakah. The second one, I clothed naked people, because the avodim, they were naked. The third one, I gave them kelim, because they had nothing in their house and everything to cook. So I really, 3 times chesed, what is it? 3 times 72 equals to 16. That's where he got the right to use the evil powers. He used his chasadim, so he cashed out his chips in order to be. And the Sfarim Magdashim tell us, here we have a tremendous, but anyway, let me say what the Sfarim Magdashim say. The Mashiach will come after the 3rd Purim. So we had Chanukah, which was a salvation. We had Purim. And we're waiting for the 3rd Purim. Purim, 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 3 times, 1008. Interestingly, Ve'at Erom Ve'erya equals 1008 exactly. However, he didn't come to tell us this. He came to hint us that we didn't finish the Galus of Mitzrayim because, we didn't finish, we still owe some to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you take all the 4 Galuyas that we went through, Bavel, Parasha Beshalach, Yavan, Edom Yishmael equals 1008. Paro made a tremendous cheshbon. They don't deserve. I have the upper hand. I can beat them on this one. And that's the reason that he allowed himself to come out and fight the Bnei Israel. And I'm finishing on these words. On the Gemara in Soita, Kasha zivugo shel adam ki kriyas yamsuf. The Zohar asks a question, V'chi kasha l'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Only if HaKadosh Baruch Hu was thinking about something, that thing would happen. Is it so hard? Answers the Zohar, you're right. Nothing is hard on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What was hard in Kriyas Yamsuf? The din, because the Bnei Israel, like Malach of Mitzrayim, Ken Sakadosh Baruch Hu, you love Din, you created the world with the name Elohim, the 32 times Elohim in the first Parasha in Bereshis. This is the core. Had you allow the Jews to be saved and make them such a tremendous miracle, and the Mitzrayim in the same miracle turn out to be a punishment? How is it possible? That was the hardship of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, there is no hardship in Kriyas Yam Suf. To make the ocean split was not hard. So now we say Kashe Zivugo Shel Adam Ki Kriyas Yam Suf. So if a person is in here and he does his ishtadlus, he makes sure his vav is complete, has nothing to worry. Kashe Panasoso Shel Adam Ki Flaim Ki Kriyas Yam Suf. 2 times 0 equals 0. 3 times 0, 1 million times 0 equals 0. So you can tell me Kiflaim Kikriyas Yam Suf. If you're here and you have the Vav, the answer is coming. Remember this part of the Komana. Anyone who's Mechadesh, a Chidush Torah, he becomes a Birya Chadasha, and all the previous Xeris cannot attain him. Have a great Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos. Gorgeous.